Morning, welcome to eRepair. So today I'm just doing a very quick how-to guide on the Samsung Galaxy 3 10-inch tab. So in this one we are just going to cover how to replace the battery in the charge port. It's one of the easier repairs to do. It should take no more than about 10-15 minutes at the very most. And all you need is a screwdriver and a pry tool. So it should be very quick. So as per nearly all the other Samsungs, except for the newer ones on the market that are glued, we need to work our way around the edge. So you need to go into the gap with the pry tool and very gently push down. And there are a number of clips all the way around the edge that will release. And it looks quite vicious. You should really do with this with a plastic tool, but this one's been opened so many times I'm not going to worry about it. This is just a spare, so again, just working your way around. At the bottom here, just be careful of the charge port. Obviously, if you're not doing a charge port repair, because otherwise if it is damaged, it doesn't matter. And then when you get to the top corner, so I'll show you that as I get to there. So when you're coming along this edge, you need to be careful of these buttons and obviously making sure you remove any micro SD cards before you start this repair. So at the top here is where your motherboard lives. Generally you can be a little bit more forceful on these ones. There we are. And it's always the corners that seem to hold it in place. So at the moment I've got nothing on there and it's just being held by the corner. So that's that. So I'm sure we've seen this a few times. One thing I will get to make my life a little bit easier is one of these. Nice little black plastic spudger. So what we're going to do, we're going to disconnect the power to start with, and then disconnect the touchscreen. This is the charge port cable, and then the LCD display cable. So we'll just work from this side across. So again, just flip the little clips up. I've done this wrong, so I should have disconnected this first. I'll do that one. So flip the little clips up, pull the cable out. So that's those all disconnected. Next thing we're going to do is get this port out. So just down here, this is a little clip that's being held in place. So you can just push that up. The other thing that's always useful, but you can do it without, is to have a flathead screwdriver just to do this bottom connection down here. So let me just zoom you in so you can see easier. Let's move this over a bit. So there we go. So just here, this one is glued in. This has just got a rubber grommet against it and then it's screwed down. So just for ease, I like to get a screwdriver under that, just a small flathead. And obviously if you're replacing this, then it doesn't really matter if you do damage it, but just straight under there like that. And it will come up. The other thing you can do is a little bit of heat. That will help. You can just see the adhesive here, holding it in. And then just these two screws. To one side, and then this will just lift out, and again this is also held down with a little bit of adhesive, so screwdriver under the edge and just gently pry upwards and it will come. And again, we'll just do the same at the bottom here, screwdriver right into the charge port, and there we go. So as you can see, that's our charge port all out in one piece. So we'll just pop that onto one side. Zoom you back out. Okay, so next thing we need to do, so we've got about 8 screws around this battery. So we'll just remove those. It's 2. The other nice thing about these Samsungs is that the screws are generally the same size, so it doesn't matter where they go back. Well, especially on the battery anyway. Nearly done. Last one. That's that. The batteries on these are lovely and easy to take out. They just lift out really, really easy. So either take it with the sides, or you can just pull up on that because it will just lift. They're not held down by anything. They're not glued in like the new ones, and they will just remove really simply. So yeah, that's all there is to that. So let's grab our new one. Now it's difficult to find a decent quality battery, so I tend to buy mine from a company called Replace Base. This one is not. This one is actually a genuine one that has been bought secondhand from eBay, but Replace Base is the one to go for because their batteries are very good and they are warranted for a year. So if it's not for just home use and it is for a bit more commercial use or to sell on, then I tend to use the the Replace Base ones because they last longer. So now we're just going to reverse our order. So these, again, just drop it down all the way around. We won't connect that up because we're going to put some of the components back in yet. Magnetic screwdriver obviously really helps because it'll pick up the screws nice and easy. So just pop all these screws back in quick. Now I have done a very brief test on this with a multimeter, so I know the battery is good. I'm a little bit dubious about buying the eBay ones because I've had bad experiences with them in the past, more with iPhone batteries than anything else. So nearly there. So even talking while we go and replacing the two parts, this has only taken us nearly 7.5 minutes now. So it's not a long repair to do. Even for someone who's never really touched one before, it won't take you any more than about 20. It's just being careful as you work around the edge not to damage the glass and not to damage the components. So that's all fixed back in. So I'm going to grab our new charge port now. This one did actually come from Replace Base as well. So I know that it's a good quality one. So I like to align this little connector down here first, and then push that in, and then push the charge dock down. And then you know you've got it all firmly in place. And then the connector just pushes down like a little Lego. So like that, and you can hear it click as it goes in. So again, we just need to pop our two screws back into the charge port. So that's number one. Number two. So that's that done. So all we need to do now is reconnect our connectors and pop the back on. So with these connectors, let me just see if I can show you. So you will see on the board there's a little gold line just there, and on the ribbon there's a little line just there. And when you push these in, those should line up. So just like that, and that is how you know that you've got the cable in correctly. So you just push it in and push the little catch down to hold it. Now again, normally there would be some tape over these connectors as well to hold them down. This has been disassembled a few times, so the tape is missing. So again, we'll just do the next one. Just slide it in, make sure it's lined up, push the connector down. And finally, last one, slide it in, connector down, and that's that done. And then battery just pushes down and you'll hear it click. So that is all now done. Battery's in, screws are in, everything's connected up, and these are all lined up and in perfectly. So last thing we need to do is get this back on. So I like to do the top first, just because then I know the buttons are not going to be in the way. So you just slip the top in and push it down, and then just work your way around. And as you go, let's see if I can show you, you can hear it click as it goes in. It's like that. All the way around. And then just have a good look at it afterwards, and anywhere you can see a gap, so like there, if you can see that, there's just a little gap at the top, so you just have to give that a bit of push and it will go, but sometimes you have to be quite aggressive with it before it will go in. So let's just give this a very quick wipe over and get rid of all my fingerprints. So that is our battery replacement done, as quick as that. It's very simple to do. As I say, this took us no more than about 10.5 minutes to do. It literally is 10 screws and a few clips and you are done. Really, really straightforward and simple. So yeah, if that's been useful to you, please like the channel, subscribe to the videos, press the bell icon to get notified of all future updates. You can also find us on Patreon, you can find us on iFixit, so please give us some love. And yeah, if you have any questions, please drop us a comment and we will do our best to respond. Thanks for watching.